Hello everyone, it's been some time since I've done a video. Today I'm just playing around making some tags. You can see I am sorting through all of the beginners I have. Every time I have extra ink or whatnot, I just kind of smush it on a tag and set them aside. So I've selected a couple here to work with some flowers I just finished stamping for a different project. Just sorting those out. I also got out some paper pads, which I ended up not using, but there was a thought there. I have the video going fast forward because it ended up being a very long video. As you can see, I'm just pulling out different scraps of paper, figuring out how I want to layer them. It's been so long since I've done a video or even worked on tags, I'm a little bit rusty. Here I found the sentiment I'm going to use on the tag. And that right there, if you don't recognize it, is my glue holder that I had just purchased from My Sweet Petunia. I think they work great. You do have to make sure that you put the tip in there just right, otherwise it will leak a little bit of glue. It's nice to have the glue handy and not have to unscrew the lid every time you want to use it. Here I pulled out some rub-ins from their mini marks from American Crafts. I've had them in my stash for quite some time. Just added a little bit to the side of the tag. Now I'm adding the finishing touches. Oh, I got a Faber-Castell marker out in walnut stain to just trace the edges of the sentiment to make it show a little more depth. Just gluing on the all the different components. And then I'm going to go and get a box from Taperology, a bunch of fun fibers and ribbons. I thought the yellow mix there looked good with this tag, so just take a section of that and tie it on. And the first tag is done. So this here is my book of extras. I like to make in bulk anytime I'm doing any coloring or cutting, and I found these photo slide sheets to be perfect for storing and sorting all of the different extras that I have. I'm just flipping through and finding things that would work. Again, I still have those 2 sheets of paper I pulled out that I thought I was going to use. Oh, here I had to stop because I actually just had an eBay order placed. And that's why I make these cards. I like to write a little thank you note on a handmade card and stick it in the box before I ship it to the customer. And now I'm back to finish this second tag. Stacking the piece of vellum under there just adds a little bit of difference another fun layer. I only used a couple pieces of double-sided tape to hold that down, and you can't see the residue that much, but it's going to get covered by all the elements anyway. I did some switching around with this one after I glued the flowers all together, just trying to decide the right look for the tag. That die cut piece is from a die from Elizabeth Crafts. They have a lot of fun different element dies. Now just gluing on the sentiment and the flowers and closing in on another tag done. Tag number 2. Now this one just said Robin's Egg Blue to me, this tag. I don't even know when I made most of these. I've had them sitting around for quite some time. So I'm going to my extras folder stash and pulling out birds, feathers, eggs, nests, and then I pulled out my drawer of just extra paper art. A lot of Tim Holtz, some Hobby Lobby brand paper studios. Just trying to figure out what would look good together and with that blue card. Finding all sorts of pieces. And then while I was at it, just putting together a second tag with the same things. Clearing off the workspace so I can darken up that bird. Here I have some cheesecloth that I have tea stained. I always keep that in my stash. I use it for a lot of different projects. I'm just going to cut out a section of that and ball it up underneath the bird. A lot of these elements are kind of bulky, like the jute and the cheesecloth, so I've warmed up my mini glue gun, and I'm going to use that to put these cards together along with my liquid glue. I'm trying to find the perfect sentiments for these tags, and I see one that says it's a beautiful crown, and I had this other tag that I just basically had a bird with a crown stamped on it and left it at that, and I thought, what a perfect sentiment for that. So I grabbed a little piece of music sheet paper that was also my stash and added the word tag to that. Now I'm back to the other two I've been working on. The sentiment I've got there is from Cosmo Cricket, which I don't even know if they're still around, but they had some really fun sentiment strip stickers. So here I've got the pieces that I'm getting glued on with my glue gun. Cutting up the word sticker to fit nicely on the tag. And I'm just going with a plain string for this one. And then ready to glue this one all together. This tag might end up being my favorite of the ones that I made today. Just something about that blue speckled tag to begin with. I did use the Taperology fibers on this tag. Now I wanted to use up the rest of the flowers I had stamped that I had left over from a different project. So I pulled out these 4 tags and divided those flowers up, and then I went to my folder full of bulk items to pick out some more stamped flowers. These here were paper tray ink, I believe, and these others that I added are from Altenew stamp sets. Luckily, when I'm stamping flowers, I tend to use a lot of the same color schemes, so they fit right in. The leaves are also from the Altenew stamp set. That's what's nice about doing it in extras when I have the time. So then when I just want to throw something together, I have a lot of the elements I need already done. The tags that I've started with are pretty colorful, but I wanted to add an extra layer. So I got some plain white Neenah cardstock, and I'm just going to cut a section, and then I'm going to dye it up a little bit with some distress inks. And not letting any go to waste, I've got that other piece, so I'm just going to take the remnants and smush it on that. I decided it needed a little more, so I got my splatter brush and added just a few blue specks to these scraps. Since my tag is a little grungy, I decided to add a little walnut stain ink on my stamped flowers and leaves just to grunge them up a little bit. Now I'm just dripping a strip of the piece I just stained to glue down, and that'll become the base that I'll put all the flowers on. I glued that strip on, so now I can arrange the flowers and leaves how I like them. I got my press and seal out so that I could easily glue all these down, but they were still a little damp from the walnut stain, so they didn't want to stick to the press and seal that well. It wasn't too bad, but there was just a couple that wanted to float instead of stick. So I went back to one of my Cosmo Cricut sticker sentiment strips and stuck that down. And just used a plain string for that tag. I believe this is the last one in the video. It's pretty similar to the previous one. The same look, just a different flower layout. And I didn't use the press and seal this time because the flowers were quite wet. This one went together pretty quick for not using the press and seal, but it works both ways. Again, just a plain string for this tag. And here are the finished 6 that I got done. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.